video.
And now we're on video. We are on Ustream.
Oh, I see. So it does
And
video
other
also.
cameras, yes.
Oh my goodness. I didn't realize.
Hello everyone, you are live on air with us, Olga show for you. And again, we are all over California, almost, at least Silicon Valley and San Francisco Bay Area. San Jose, California, nice warm outside today, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And we have a Renaissance Fair outside of San Jose, not far away from Arena. And if you would like to visit, there's there today until 6, so you missed it today, definitely come tomorrow. This is wonderful fair. You can see knights, you can see princesses, you can see gypsies, you can see soldiers of different kinds, children dressed up nicely. So it's a nice Renaissance fair for all, and be prepared because you can buy the clothes or you can come already in the wonderful clothes. And I was there, we took some video. You can check that later on Olga Show Live. Actually, it would be posted on our website in about a couple of days or so. But if you want to visit, you can still do it tomorrow from 10 to 4. Again, it's a Renaissance Fair in San Jose, California, from all over United States. People came in their wonderful dresses. You can buy it, you can try it, you can see knights and military and armor celebration and demo as well. And I actually even sat on the horse and kind of did a tour on the horse, so it was very nice. And I wear my wonderful dress, which I'm actually wearing right now, and you can check on Ustream if you wish, or you can see it later on YouTube. So, one of my Renaissance dresses. Do I look lovely? Who
Yes.
can tell me? Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you definitely do.
All right, so I'm sparkling here in gold and diamonds and pearls. So, and we have a wonderful guest. Hello,
You're
how are you? Please
Very
come
good, Olga.
closer
Thank
to
you.
the mic. And by the way, if you want to see us on Ustream, you know how to find us, right? Very easy. Olga Show. You do your search and you will find us. For those who are my followers, you will receive SMS, text message, email, Facebook notification saying, hey, Olga Show live, broadcasting live. And that's wonderful. I love technology. That's why I always give technology information. Please tell me, my wonderful friend, introduce yourself to my wonderful followers and public.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Phil Bertain. I had the privilege of meeting Olga recently at a networking event in Palo Alto, and I'm very excited to be a part of the Russian community, if only for a few minutes.
All right, and it wasn't just networking event, it was like angel lunch.
Angel Launch.
Yes, what brought you down there?
Well, I'm acquainted with Zahava Stroud, who has organized iHollywood for years, and she is an incredibly gifted organizer. And she's organized a series of meetups that for entrepreneurs and would-be entrepreneurs to actually get feedback directly from angels and VCs. And there are as many as 7, 8 angels and VCs, and maybe up to 10 different entrepreneurs who have an opportunity to go into crossfire for their businesses. So it's also a wonderful place to network. I met maybe a dozen Russians one evening. I met Olga.
I know we have been promoting that event, and not only I have programming in English from 6 to 7 every Saturday night live, but also from 7 to 9 p.m. you can practice your Russian with me. And that would be also Saturday night live show every Saturday night. Guess what we also have now every Wednesday night starting August 15th, we're gonna have Olga Show on TV. San Jose and Silicon Valley would be pleased that I was delighted to work with Korea TV and make those shows available for everyone.
Marvelous.
Yes. So, being so lucky in meeting you, tell us what drawn you to Angel Launch.
I value networking communities. I'm basically business development and have a lot of international experience.
And I know that you are from Berkeley University. I love that
Cal
university.
Berkeley, yes.
So history?
Yeah, I majored in history there. I majored in cultural intellectual history, focused on 19th century America and Europe, particularly Western Europe. And there was, I remember there were specific Russian courses there as well. I did one course, sort of a history of philosophy, if you will, from Dr. Malia, I remember, who has a Russian origin.
Right, and did you learn some Russian there as well?
Unfortunately not. I did become fluent in French. They have a marvelous French program there.
Great. I am not sure if I know enough French language today, except maybe merci beaucoup. Cherche la yes. Maybe comment ça va?
Ça va bien, et vous?
Yes, si. Merci.
Or the time.
All right, so we can be like
That's
international. So, now tell me, after becoming a student and graduating from Cal Berkeley, what's happened next in your life?
Well, I actually, I think this international exposure to Cal Berkeley is quite interesting to me. There were a lot of Europeans and Asians there. It was a long time ago, but I had a chance to meet people from most countries, including India and China. And I remember on Saturday evenings you'd go by, I think it was Eshelman's Hall, and you'd find people studying in the student hour, and most of them were Chinese. So you think these Chinese men and women, or boys and girls, all, like 100 people.
All right. And did you work as a historian?
I wish. I actually was looking at teaching, and teaching was a closed door when I got out. I was thinking of high school teaching.
Okay.
So I ended up kind of in a corporate career, and then got into the high-tech industry. And working with the Japanese in 94 to 96 is what got me into international.
So did you travel to Japan and learn Japanese language?
I learned a bit of Japanese, but I unfortunately never had a chance to travel to Japan. But I represented the third largest software company out of Japan, and introduced a division of digital media.
So the name of the company was?
Dynaware USA. It's interesting because they developed the world's first 3D architectural tour or walkthrough, and that was way back in, I was told, 83, 86, a long, long time ago. And I worked with them in 94 to 96.
Wonderful. Now, what are you trying to achieve right now? Are you having your own startup?
Well, I'm looking to, my passion is around a book I wrote with a Lithuanian lady, Adroni Whippich, who is actually I met in Marin County back in 97. And we collaborated for 5 years on a book on a new consciousness east-west. So we're trying to get this out to the world by any means possible. And our vision is to bring the world together.
So tell me, the book is Awaken Perfection. So for those who is seeing right now the book and on the camera, here I'm holding it in my hands, called Awaken Perfection. And the journey of conscious revelation. So would you please tell us about that?
Well, we worked with the South Asians for 4 years and got acquainted intimately with a different worldview than the one I was brought up in. Adroni grew up in the former Soviet Union, and she was a nominal Catholic, but basically I had a much more religious upbringing than her. But when I went to school, things were very scientific, and religion was pretty much discredited. So I had an opportunity to be among South Asians and found their religion very vibrant and alive. And I began a philosophical quest, and Adroni also with me.
All right. But are you trying awaken perfection? What we are talking about? Spiritual perfection, body, mind perfection, all of the above, or
all of the above?
All of the above. And how are you trying to outreach when we have so many nationalities and different countries, and they have different culture, and of course different mindsets, different spiritual experience?
Well, actually I feel that's a form of enrichment. So I feel that wealth lies in diversity. and poverty lies in a lack of diversity. So the Bay Area is blessed with an unusually large international population. There was a time in the early 2000s when almost all my friends were not born in the U.S. It was a strange place. I'll never forget that period. But essentially, you can meet people from every single country in the Greater Bay Area, including every country in South America, and of course the Russian Confederation, Commonwealth.
Right. Well, it wasn't always available to come to United States. Even so, we had waves of Russian immigration coming here. That's for sure. And by bringing that, of course, different, like a lot of software and hardware engineers coming right now, a lot of
Yes.
scientists coming right now. Before that, probably we started with first immigrants 200 years ago.
Yes.
Which I had the chance to go to Fort Ross. Have you ever been there?
I've been through there. It's a lovely area. Yeah, I hear it was settled by Russians.
Yes, and it was over 200 years ago when they settled in Fort Ross, and it's still preserved there in their natural environment. They recently built a new windmill where you can actually come, let's say in October, where you can bring your own wheat and actually make a flour out of it.
Wow. Did the Russians come through Vladivostok in ships? Is that how they reached Alaska?
Yeah, yes, apparently. Maybe they came also from St. Petersburg and went to Vladivostok and from there to California. Yeah, most certainly. And let's come back to that perfection. When you're talking, you actually mentioned Gandhi.
Yes.
So why is that?
I believe that Gandhiji was instrumental in ending what we would call the modern age. I don't believe we live any longer in a modern age. I think it's over. I think it's decisively over. And the period from the space race between the U.S. and USSR and 2001, which was, if nothing else, a symbolic turning point in the world. But in that period of time, we shifted out of the modern age to what we call the planetary age.
Okay. And then, what do you mean by planetary age?
The world has finally come together. It's converged in the world's first global civilization. So we see the Renaissance and the Reformation as part of a breakout from the Middle Ages.
Okay.
That led to colonization, which led to the scientific revolution, industrialization, and one revolution after another that essentially changed the world civilization. So those of us, like myself, born in the modern age, as children could not imagine ever being in any other age but the modern age. But I studied history at Cal Berkeley and realized everything has a season and a time, and when it's over, it's most decisively over.
Okay. So when do you think like globalization will happen, by your opinion?
It is happening.
It's happening,
already.
But we still have boards and we still have visa problems, different monies, different government structures. So
I see
different technologies. Some countries have it more advanced and some don't have enough stuff.
You probably have heard of The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman.
Okay.
He was a New York Times Pulitzer Prize winner, and essentially in his book he talks about a horizontally leveling effect of technology, so that India, for example, can compete effectively with the US as well as China and of course Russia.
When do you think we'll start flying off to other planets and sending people to the moon and Mars?
Whatever it will be a Russian or European ship. It probably won't be an American ship.
Why is that?
You know, the Russians really should be credited for initiating this space program. It really was Sputnik and then Yuri Gagarin.
Okay.
I remember that as a child. I was very young at the time.
And did it affect you why you didn't become an astronaut?
I dreamed. Every kid at that time dreamed of being an astronaut. You know, we were kind of felt inferior to the Russians in the early '60s. I mean, seriously. And it wasn't until that John Glenn in '63 orbited the Earth 3 times, America could rally back and have hope that we would win the space race.
All right, but nevertheless, when Russians came 200 years ago, they could have stayed in California, but they didn't. And then soon after, they sold California or wherever negotiation happened. Gold rush happened in California. Wasn't it a wonderful time?
Yeah, it was actually, because every country was represented, am I correct? virtually every country was represented in the gold rush, and this was the beginning of deep internationalization in the United States, much like you'd think of New York. So that's been continuing without ceasing in this greater Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area ever since the gold rush. So we've become truly an international city in San Francisco.
And that's never stopped.
It's never stopped. So in the book we claim that San Francisco is a breeding ground for revolution.
What kind of revolution?
Well, certainly the gold rush was an economic revolution. And it was not just the gold, which was found in the foothills, but it was companies like Levi Strauss that came in to supply the miners.
Okay.
And so an economy was built up very fast. Some people might have heard of the people being Shanghaied, so the Chinese presence. Then we had a silver rush, and we had the Transcontinental Railroad. But essentially it was all fueled from that movement out of 1849.
Yes, and then we built railroads as well.
And we built yeah.
I mean, not me personally, but in America, I'm calling myself Russian American, and I'm American citizen. So of course, now I'm saying we and thinking, yes, it's railroad was built as well. So I feel already global, international. So
it's interesting. I think Russia's Trans-Siberian Railroad is probably longer than any American railroad.
Maybe because the country is longer.
Yeah, 12 time zones, right?
Right, 12 time zones, and in America we only have 3. Nevertheless, we have more people now live in the United States of America. In Russia, only 143 million.
Oh, that's kind of a loss in a way.
But then, of course, if you consider republics, which most of them still, in most of them, people still speak Russian.
My co-author, Adroni, she was Adroni Yanishevskaita, but she spoke fairly fluent Russian. Russian was part of her educational standard when she was growing up.
Okay, we have some music prepared for us. What is that?
Yes, we definitely do have some music. It's science fiction music because we are talking about future, talking about changes in the world. So this is the music by Yevgeny Krylatov. It's from the famous Russian movie about time travel.
Oh.
All right. Just like you wanted. Time travel. Что? Чего написать тебе? Я поставь мне, я тебе оставлю. Окей, спасибо. Там еще найди какой-нибудь. Сколько?
It's 3 minutes.
3 minutes break. So let's come back to more to the book.
Yes.
Придет это на мой телефон. Может быть. Oh no, it's open. So open radio. Oops. Your friend will make it, or what's happening?
Oh, another time. You know, I could. It was a little too short of a notice for her. She's got a husband. I'm a single person.
Okay. Maybe radio. A radio. So we have to do a lot of technological things.
This is synced with the internet simultaneously.
Yes, right now we are simultaneously working on the internet. Okay, but yes, I need everything, this and that. For right now, I probably don't need that, but you can use it. Just keep it somewhere. Можешь у нее забрать iPad, пускай послушает. Если она не работает на iPad, ты можешь ее использовать iPad, или же потом мне дашь. У меня тут сказки. Окей. Ты приготовилась сегодня?
Есть у меня что-то на телефоне.
Okay, cool. Твою experience, где ты была, что тебе понравилось? Time to explore that.
Oh, okay,
Then we
sure.
will do pictures.
Oh, let me give you my card then. This is the book card. And this is my personal card.
20 seconds.
А потом что-нибудь еще можешь подготовить? Чтобы отдохнуть?
Потом подберу еще музыку.
Да, такой же. And we are back live on air, Olga Show for you every Saturday night. You can find us on Ustream by searching Olga Show, or later find us on YouTube by searching Olga Show, or go to our website Olga Show, olgashow.org, olga-show.com, u923fm.com, and you can see us there, or you can hear us live on air 92.3 FM Saturday night 6 to 7 p.m. in English and 7 to 9 p.m. in Russian. And we have Phil with us. Hello, Phil.
Hello,
Talking
Olga.
about his new book, Awakened Perfection, The Journey of Conscious Revelation. So you're talking about a revolution, economic?
Yes, there are 4 revolutions that we envision in the book. The first revolution, of course, was the gold rush.
Gold Rush, 1849?
Yes, and so
Okay.
it brought in a major influx of gold in the world market, but more particularly it brought people together in a fusion from every country, literally every country. People would go around South America to Tierra del Fuego, which is like here a very stormy area to kind of cross around in ships, especially old 19th century ships. But they all came here by whatever means possible. China, I'm sure there were some Russians here. I don't know the facts.
I'm pretty sure they still were staying
They were already there, right?
Yeah, they already were there. Not as many as they could come, but they were here. Yeah.
And they hadn't sold Alaska yet, so
At the time,
at
they
the time
didn't sell Alaska. They couldn't find gold in Alaska at that time. I guess
too bad.
wasn't enough equipment available. Too bad, yes.
So then the second revolution we feel was the
Economical revolution. So.
Yes.
Okay, this happened.
Yeah. So 1840s, helped to create, kind of brought gold, of course, in a fusion of people. Sort of stimulated, I would think, the North American economy. But essentially what happened was San Francisco Bay Area got in the international spotlight early. And then we have to jump almost to 100 years, over 100 years to the 1960s with the social cultural revolution of the hippies. I call it the love generation.
Okay, how that's affected America and the whole world. I just
Yes.
want to refresh my memory as I wasn't there at the time.
There was dissidence in Russia all over the world. In 1968, for example, there were 1 million people on strike, a general strike against the French government. And there were student demonstrations from 65 till probably 1971 against government policies in the United States, especially the war in Vietnam.
Okay, so some didn't want to go to the war, and
Nobody
they
did.
just
Very few people later on, because we stopped believing that when we, being Americans, after a while stopped believing we would win the war. And we had been indoctrinated, honestly, to the point where we thought America would win every war. If the truth be told, we had not won the Korean War either. It was actually an armistice or a stalemate.
and then coming to the fourth economical or social revolution you're talking about in your book.
Okay, so the third revolution was the technology revolution right here in Silicon Valley. And of course it had drastic economic implications as well. It was a dot-com boom and bust. And again, like the gold rush, people came from all over the world to participate. For example, in the dot-com boom, 1 out of 4 startups were founded by people from South Asia.
Like which companies we're talking about?
Well, of course, everybody thinks of Google, with Sergey Brin. But it's just in general. I mean, there's a huge number of Indians people from India in Santa Clara County. 200,000 people just from in Santa Clara from India. So you got these people who came here for advanced education in the university. I'm told we have one of the best university systems in the world. And they came for the higher education. They had the right to stay on and work with a student visa, F1, and then there was an H1 program which allowed them to work and gain more practical work experience here. And that program continues diminished till today.
And I believe some of them went back to Germany, Russia, and many other countries and brought their knowledge and opened the companies and became so successful that they not only become rich themselves but enrich life of other people by using technology for the best of the communication and knowledge sharing and culture sharing. So that was very helpful. How that can help conscious revelation?
Well, the fourth revolution, we would say, is a conscious revolution. And I can point to 3 or 4 things, but the most obvious thing is we're having a biopharma green revolution here. We're having a revolution in terms of genetic engineering, and it has strong impact on health in terms of the genomic revolution. For example, nutrigenomics, which is doing a revolution in relation to diseases like diabetes. You also have the environmental revolution, which is kind of gaining new ground. It's not probably an accident that the producer of An Inconvenient Truth, featuring Al Gore, was in Burlingame, where I have an office in the San Francisco Peninsula.
Yeah, so they all, at the time, or at least now, we envision to have a green planet, while other countries still far behind in recycling. And I have to make some video, I know, and also using biodegradable dishes or one-time use dishes from in your, let's say, restaurants or cafeterias.
In America, in the 70s, the Green Revolution was beginning, and Earth Day, of course, came out in 1970. However, there was a reaction in the Ronald Reagan era against this, and it took another decade or so to regain momentum.
Yeah, we can come back to it after commercial break. And Olga Show with you. You can find us on Ustream right now under Olga Show or 92.3 FM. As you listen in us live, you can call us at 408-912-5265, 408-912-5265, and Phil Brettain with us with Awaken Perfection book. And Olga Show with you, ready to answer any of your questions. I'm here with you until 9 p.m., so you have time to call us.
Thank you for listening to 92.3 FM.
I said right.
Some of my family comes from
Advertise on U92.3 FM. Give us a call today.